Hi, if you like the video, please remember to subscribe.
Okay, we're here today looking at my new digital camera that I got yesterday from Amazon. I had a problem because my old video camera that I used to do the old YouTube videos broke the other day, probably because I used to keep strapping to the top of my remote control car and it got very wet and it did a few tumbles and somersaults, so that got knackered, so I got a bit napped. And my old trusty Kodak Easyshare Camera has sort of come to the end of its life now. It's only got a 2 megapixel camera. It's great. I'll give it to the kids, they can play around with it, but I just wanted something a little bit more powerful in terms of megapixels and what it could actually do to give me a little bit more control over my pictures. So after doing a lot of research on the web and looking at prices, I only had a budget of about £120, £130. I came up with the Fujifilm Finepix S5700, or the S700 as it's called in the States. It's a 7.1 megapixel camera with a 10 times digital zoom. But that wasn't the only reason why I bought it. I mean, it's going for about £110 on Amazon at the moment, which is a great deal. But what I wanted was a camera with a nice digital zoom on it, and obviously a nice optical zoom on it, and with 10 times optical. That gives you great options, especially if you're using it with a tripod. I also really like normal viewfinders that you can put your eye up against, because they give you a lot more stability when you're taking images. And I also wanted one that would take ordinary AA batteries. Obviously I use rechargeables rather than a manufactured rechargeable battery, so if I'm doing some video or some film out in the field, I can just whack some different batteries in there as well. So that's really cool. Also, as far as video goes, this can take 600 quality video and also 320, I think it is. And importantly, it records it in JPEG AVI motion rather than MPEG-4, so it's quite easy to edit, even though it produces slightly bigger sizes. So quick rundown of what you get in the box. Obviously you get the camera, you get the lens cover, you get the strap. They supply you with a AVI lead that you can plug into the side of it and then plug it into your TV. Worth of note though, the USB connector stroke AVI connector is a mini, I think it's a mini USB, so it's quite an unusual size, so your ordinary USB won't work, so you've got to use that. Then they give you a proper USB, and again it's got a connector on the back. You get some software to load up onto your PC if you want to bother with that. Obviously most people will just stick the card in a memory card reader. You get a quick start guide, and you also get a really good owner's manual. This sort of thing. You know when you normally get an owner's manual and it's thick because it's full of different languages? Well, this one's thick because it's full of instructions telling you how to use the camera. Although it looks like a SLR, a mini SLR, so you see how small it is, it's what's called a bridge camera, because you can't change the lens. You can use I think it's 46mm filters on the end, but it combines the best points of a point and shoot, and then give you loads of different controls as well. Let's look at the top of the camera first. As you can see, it really is easy to hold in one hand. That's the shutter button on the top. The zoom is just there, and then you've got your mode wheel there. I'm pretty basic when it comes to cameras. I don't really know much about them, but I've had this about a day, and after reading the instructions, it really is simple to use. 9 times out of 10, you're probably just going to use the auto button, which I've got on there at the moment, but then just by turning the wheel, you get all sorts of different settings straight into the camera. So there's anti-shake, there's normal light, so you won't bother with the flash. Normal light with flash, so it'll take 2 pictures, one without a flash, one with. And then you've got a couple of presets, so it comes preset with portrait mode first and then landscape mode. So what that does, it sets the camera up to take those sort of pictures. So the portrait mode will give you nice soft pictures, good for facial tones, and the landscape mode changes it that way. You've got program mode, where you can it's a bit like the auto function, except you can go in and you can do things like image bracketing, so you can take 3 shots, one overexposed and one overexposed, and you can muck around with a few settings. You get aperture priority mode, and shutter priority mode. Best thing with those, if you're not sure about it, just read the manual and then play around with it. They're quite cool. And then you get manual mode where you can change everything, and then you get movie mode, and then we're back to auto. So there we go. So let's get the old lens cap off and turn it on. What's really great about this camera, I think, is it's got the huge screen on the back, which is really cool. I don't know whether you can see, but I've just set it at the moment where it's got the grids on. So that's really good for lining up photos, and in the middle you might be able to see the sort of autofocus thing. But you can also, if you press this button up here, it goes onto the viewfinder, which you probably won't be able to see. But that way, turn the screen off, use the viewfinder, you can hold it up in its face, so it's really nice and stable for that sort of shot. If we turn the viewfinder on again, one of the really good things is when you start off, you haven't really got a clue what these buttons mean on the top with the mode wheel. But every time you flick it, it comes up, and there's a little tag that comes up and tells you what each thing means. So if I go over to natural light retains natural ambience without flash, so I know exactly what I'm doing. Also, when you go into something like, let's have a look, aperture priority mode, it tells you what it is, and then down the bottom it gives you the instructions how you can sort it out. So we're aperture priority mode. Actually, let's try shutter mode. That's one I quite like. So we're going to shutter priority mode, and then in this bottom it tells you what you've got to do. So you've got to press this button down here, bunk, and now we can, using the little joypad, change the shutter speed. And the shutter speed can go right up to, so look, 4 seconds, so that'd be great for nice shots if you want nice blurry pictures of cars going past, all that sort of stuff. And you can probably see the little histogram bouncing around on the side. So on the bottom right corner we can adjust the exposure compensation as well if we're difficult in low light conditions. There's a little warning on the right that's also telling me, because I've got a 1 second shutter speed, that there's probably going to be lots of camera shake, so it's telling me to stick it on a tripod or lean it on a beanbag or something like that. So that's really cool. Now if we press this little play button, top left hand corner, you probably can't see, but it's just there, we can review some of the pictures, and then we can navigate through them. So these are just ones I've taken this morning, just mucking around in the house, just with different settings. That's quite a nice macro feature. This camera does have a really cool macro. You've got normal macro where you can go up to, I think it's about 3 centimeters away from the item, and then you've got super macro where you can go up to within, I think it's about 30 millimeters, about 10 millimeters, which is incredibly close to the camera. Let's have a look at a few others. That's a really nice macro shot of a flower. What I've done as well is they also, apart from being able to change everything if you want to, if you don't want to have an auto mode, it's also got the Finepix button. You press that and then you can go into and set it to be black and white, or you can also set it up to chrome, and that's really cool for macro shots because it makes everything, it increases the brightness and increases the contrast, so really good for shots like that. So I'll be playing around with that. That's another macro shot, really nice in focus. That one isn't. Picture of a scion with or without flash. And then we got some flowers. Without flash. Alright, here we've got a little bit of video here. I don't know how well this will show up, but I shot this at 320, so it's not the highest resolution, but it's pretty cool. So let's see, let's get that playing, see what you can actually see. Really cool thing as well is when you're using video, it has image stabilization, but you can also use the zoom as well. So you can use this huge 10 times zoom to really zoom in on stuff, and it carries on with the autofocus as it's doing that. So that's really nice. Let's stop that. Let's go to go back into the shooting mode. We just tap the shutter button on the top, and we're back there. So yes, it's really cool camera. Let's go back to auto. Let's just take a quick picture just to show you how fast it does. In fact, I'll tell you what, we put it in auto, and we want to take a macro picture. So we just press this button on the side. So it's just reminding me that it's for close-up shots. So let's take a shot of this box. I'm not holding it. The flash has just popped up automatically. In fact, I'll tell you what, let's do that again. Let's do it down here so you can see the camera. Watch it pop up. So press the button, beep to tell me it's in focus. It needs a flash that's popped up. Taking the picture, there it is, and it will disappear in a sec to go back to shooting mode. That's cool, doing it that way. We can press the right button, there's all the different flash, red eye, force flash, suppress flash, and back to auto. In the different modes you also get lots of different options for flashes, but when you're in auto it's really just point and shoot to do it that way. So that's it really. That's the first impressions of the Finepix S5700, or the S700 is in the States. Really cool camera, great price from Amazon. I think it's cost me £105. And does everything I want it to, and so far all the pictures I've taken have been really, really nice. So there we go. Thanks for watching.